Hello, I've made this rail switch here, and it should be automatic. So let's say this train comes through here first. It'll continue on straight. And then when this guy comes through here, don't mind the chain, it's just to speed him up for this little process. It changes because of a controller on board. Light changes, purely visual. And then when he's a certain distance, it goes back to the main line. I made this by using a coaster here. You could use a gantry thing with the Create Gizmos mod, but I haven't messed with that yet. You could also use a bearing, I'll show you that, and I'll show you how to make it really quick. I love how this looks, it's very cool. Maybe not the easiest thing to build, but it's not that bad. So in here, also, I really like how this little guy looks. I was talking with a commenter who said he was going to make a little sugarcane train. I know it's bamboo, but pretend it's sugarcane, right? I really like how this turned out. Anyway. Inside, we've got the engine. I don't have a way to automatically fuel it yet. The fan for power, and that's pretty much it. In here, we have a signal that sends bamboo for the rail switch, which receives bamboo when the train is pretty close. And this thing is just to make the light go by. So if we go, vroom, stop, you'll see the track. You'll see the track switches like that. And when it goes by, you know, it does a little jiggle. And it goes back to normal for this guy to come by. So let me show you how to build it. Wouldn't this be the perfect place for a little bridge and a train coming by underneath? Anyway, so first things first, we're going to clear a little bit of this out. So we're going to have a rail down here that the coaster will sit on, with the track will be on. The only problem with this is it's not quite a block and it's not quite a slab. So you'll have a situation like this where the track has to come up a little bit. Now, if you use the mod like the Create Gizmos thing, it would be right on level, but that's not what I'm doing. The chain going from here to here. Any block you'd like, you can bridge out with. It should go like this, so these blocks are at the same height. You can put these blocks after, or you don't need to, it's up to you. Now, since this is going to be able to move around here, we'll have this be the setting for turning. And then you just kind of do a little bit of this and that to make it smoother. Of course, make sure they actually line up. And bring this track up to meet it. Something like this kind of works. It's not the best, but it works decently. The switch after I'm going to show you with the physics bearing is much smoother, though I would say this parallel one is simpler. So the idea is when this shifts over, we can put some blocks here to stop it from going further than it needs to go. Oh, that's nice. I didn't know you could do that. That might be an add-on too that I've added and forgot I had. You have to make sure that these remain on the same sub-level. We don't want it to go past this point. When it comes over here, it's lined up with that way, and it comes over here, it's lined up with that way. And that's pretty much it for the tracks. Now we want a gear shift. Some sort of power, you know, water wheel, whatever you want. It can be whatever speed you want. It could be super fast or like a, you know, a nice or decent speed. So when this is on, it goes to the right track. I'm just going to straighten these out a little more so they're nicer to look at. And when it's off, it goes to the straight track. Now what I did for this one is I put a little obstacle here. So let's say this guy is coming the wrong way. Oops, I forgot it does that automatically. So let's say there's a coaster coming the wrong way. It will hit the lamp, and it won't be able to fall off the track in most cases. Yeah. And same with if it's going this way. Now you can use a bigger block that's more guaranteed, but this is more subtle. Now, I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but this isn't really a tutorial. It's more of me getting my ideas out there, and other people who already know what they're doing in Create can go like, oh, pretty cool, and then add to it, because I want to use this in survival at some point, so if you've got any ways of simplifying it, please let me know, that'd be appreciated. Though it's already pretty simple, I think. So now we get a little modulating receiver here. I'm actually going to put it right here so I can see what the signals are. We'll give it plank slabs as a signal, I guess. Now let's say there's a coaster here who is sending out a signal of plank slab, so they're going to go to the plank slab direction. You know, this would be better if it's like a wheat farm and you put wheat on there. And I set this to whatever distance I want, so it'll only activate when the train is 10 blocks away. We'll see that again. Okay. So, you know, 15 is a pretty good range. I'll go ahead and give this guy a little more running space. So for demonstration, the track is straight, so an uncoated train will go straight, and one specifically heading to the slab station will get to turn. And it also works in reverse because it has that modulating, you know, the range thing. As it approaches from this direction, the track switches. And now that you know how this works, the bearing one will be quite easy. Now, I call this one the parallel and this one the bearing, although in my head I also kind of call it the astroneer. You'll see why if you've played the game. Now, this track is a lot more like the old minecart track. You can't really come from this direction. So we got our straight incoming track. This is where the trains will be mostly coming from. So I'm going to assemble this so I don't have to glue it later. And just see, yep, that's assembled all right. And we have the track do this. And you just bring these out to, say, the center of this block and the center of this block. And you get a nice curve. You connect these up, make sure that these are not connected to each other because, you know, this track has to rotate. And give it some room to rotate. Alright, so I've made this direction out here, and I've put a coaster down. Just like the one over there, except this is toggleable, and it's set for iron, as if this is the iron station and this is the everything else station. Wow, I love this terrain. Okay. This modulating linked receiver is set to iron, with a max distance of 15. If it's too close, you know, problems happen. If it's too far, I don't know, maybe other problems happen. So now the idea is, when this card is off, and it comes by, nothing happens, and he just goes in his merry way. But when the card is on, this sequential gearbox has it turn 90 degrees, wait 5 seconds, so it can pass by safely. You can change that if you want, and then turn by 90 degrees again, so it goes back to this path. Now, there's different ways of doing that, but first, here's the demonstration. It turns. That was a bit quick. Maybe that's why you'd have the train either go slower or have the range be bigger, but, you know, he's coming by, it turns, it passes by, 5 seconds are up, and then it turns back to the way it was before. Just like that. Now, he's still in range, so I'm going to extend the track out just a bit. Get out of the range. And now, if it comes back into range, this opens up so he can come back through here a little bit quicker, please. I'm impatient. And just like that. Now, the only problem is if a train... Oh, would you look at that? If a train that isn't supposed to go this way from here is coming this way, it is simply going to fall off the track. I mean, unless it's fast enough, I guess. We don't really want that. So what you can use is a optical sensor, or if you have Coaster's engineered a trackside sensor. The trackside sensor is just like the optical one, but it detects speed, and more importantly, it won't miss a train moving too fast. So for demonstration purposes, I will only be using this one. And we'll just have it run over here. It can be wireless, it doesn't have to be wired, it's up to you. And when it comes by here... What? Oh, I didn't know it only powered from the side. Cool, cool, okay. I guess I could also just rotate it. So now, when this train comes by, it will turn this and be good. Now, you could also have a safety precaution in place, I guess. Use a nice red block. So trains can't derail when they're coming from a direction they shouldn't be coming from. And you can see how it blocks just like that. This is quite a nice solution. And if you don't want it to be timed, you can just change this to await a new redstone pulse, which might be finicky when it comes from this way, because there isn't going to be another redstone pulse. But it works just fine when coming from this way. So make of that what you will. I'm just throwing out ideas here. So you'll see he comes by, it does this, and then the second it crosses this, the track goes back to... Okay, well, we'll go back to normal, but he was still in range. But you get the concept. Those are two of probably the most common ones. I'm sure there's other switches you can make, and you can extrapolate from this video. On a brief little thing with this, this chain is completely unnecessary. It is just to make it faster. This intersection is another option you have. Very simple to make. It's also kind of one-directional. Let's say you've got a track going this way, and a track going this way, just like over there. You'd basically have this curve exist, and another track kind of just comes in sneakily here and looks like it merges. So a coaster can only really go one way, though sometimes they like to go the wrong way because they're a little funny like that. So I wouldn't use this as a reliable method for two-directional, unless it does it every time, then I guess you can. But it works great for one way, just merging tracks. You know, this way merges, and this way merges, just like you see here. If you've got any ideas of ways to simplify any of these processes, do let me know, because these are just my little experimental ideas. If you've got any ways to make it easier, that would be quite appreciated, as I'd like to incorporate this into survival at some point. And yeah, so that's the thing. We're just at 2,000 subscribers, so you can click off the video now, or you can just hear me rant. I've got more ideas in the works. Like, I want to try and make a freight coaster that is completely automatic to deliver goods from locations, but that'll be another time. So if you want to see those, you can either check back in later or subscribe, because that does the checking back in later part for you. But I get you probably don't want your subscription feed to be clogged with like a billion different YouTubers going like, you should click and subscribe. So, you know, you can put it on personalized or do whatever you want. Okay, see ya.